Listen, we're in the Champions League. We're in the Champions League. Finishing top 3. We're in the Champions League. Where's Liverpool? Not there. Where's Chelsea? Not there. Where's Spurs? Not there. Oh my God!
Bayern Munich 4, Man United 3. It's an annoying game to have to put apart, take apart, because what was the first thing I said yesterday in the preview? No mistakes, and obviously Onana made the biggest of the night. Look, the first 20 minutes, it was a typical story. I felt like I could have written exactly how this was going to go. And yes, we scored maybe more goals than I thought, and the game in its totality, in terms of the scoreline, it reflects a close game. But actually, it was the same kind of patterns that we kept seeing. And what that is that Man United play well for 20 minutes, right? Then something happens. Either you get undone by a bit of magic or a bit of skill, or a mistake. And today's turn, it was Onana. Now, listen, he knows he's made a massive clanger there. He absolutely knows that. He's come out in the media. He's spoken about how it's on him. Even before the game, he was speaking about it's on him, and he's not scared of that. He's not going to shy away from that. He's spoken about his Manchester United career has not started how he wants it to, so he knows that. But at the end of the day, there was a lot made about David De Gea moving on, and we need a keeper that can play out from the back and this, that, and the other. But you've got to keep the ball out the back of the net. Ironically, with the question that I asked him yesterday, does he feel that he needs to prove that he's more than just good with his feet? And you guys saw his answer. And ironically, the very next day, he does that. And there's no excuse in that. He said we lost control of the game from there. Now, that's the individual side of it. He should never make that error. Leroy Sané before that was pretty much getting booed by some of the Bayern fans. There was a ball he gave up down and on the right-hand side. He was misplacing passes. He was out. He wasn't even playing well. And he gets a little P-roller, and then his confidence is up with Andre Onana's doing. That's the individual side of it. Then there's the team side of it. And this is the bit what we do know about our team. Mental fragility. Any other team who's got a lot of confidence and belief in their ability is going to say, you've made a mistake, don't you worry, we're going to get back to doing what we were just doing for the last 20 minutes, get Bayern back under pressure, we're going to get back in it. But that's exactly what didn't happen. Musiala, who's world class, by the way, he absolutely stole the show for large parts today. Jamal Musiala was fantastic. He runs at Dalot, he does well. And then runners, you got Gnabry, just there, nobody there picking him up. He has an easy finish into the corner. Lazy, people not picking up runners. So instantly, after a little bit of adversity and going 1-0 down, when we shouldn't have gone 1-0 down, we instantly concede again. There was bits of belief after that, coming out second half. There was some positive moments. And then, look, we get ourselves back into it. Good finish from Rasmus Højlund. Gets his first Manchester United goal. Yes, it was a bit of a deflection. But then what did we do from that? That's when the penalty incident happens. Now, look, the penalty was definitely a dodgy penalty. In the Premier League, that wasn't given, but it was given here tonight, and I understand that it was a dodgy penalty. There's not really much Christian Eriksen can do, but in terms of managing the game, we've just scored. Can we put our foot on the ball? Can we keep the ball? Can we keep the pressure on Bayern? What do? I think, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen it back yet, but from my memory, I think it's Christian Eriksen who loses the ball that actually leads to the corner. So look, there's a sequence of events that happen, but it all stems from we've just scored, we've got possession of the ball because we've managed to win it back, and I think, to my memory, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, we end up losing it with a little, I think Christian Eriksen round about there, loses it, and then it ends up going, they get on the counter-attack, and then I think it hits off someone, goes out for a corner. So, again, it's of our own doing. And then the game's 3-1. Look, it could have been 4-1 at some point. They hit the post, and we wasn't really in the game then. And then we managed to get in the game with a Casemiro situation. And then you go, right, you know what? It's 3-2. Let's make a go of it. And then what happens? Bruno has the ball with no pressure, tries to play a pass, and then the ball ends up in the back of the net. I think that was a sequence. Or we did. I'm sure that's what happened. And then on top of that, who's picking him up? One ball over the top, goal from Tell. And that just sums us up. And that was after us just scoring. giving the ball away, mistakes. Mentality. We can literally write the script because every game we're playing, we're saying there's been a good 20 minutes, there's been a good this, there's been a good that, but. And that's the frustrating thing. Bruno said it when we spoke to him. Look, you can't blame it on injuries. You can't just blame it on injuries. Obviously, that is a part of it. We need players back. But the players that are there on the pitch, like in midfield, we're just getting absolutely run through. People aren't picking up their runners. It's easy for opposition teams to create chances through midfield. We're not keeping the ball well enough. We're playing like arse, to be honest, in midfield, if I'm being honest. That's how I see it. And it's just not good enough. Now, it's frustrating because you've come here and you've scored 3 goals. You've come to the Allianz Arena and you've scored 3, and you haven't got at least a point. Essentially, we give them 2 goals. You know what I mean? Because that's what's annoying. Is Bayern weren't even great. They're not great. But do you and we saw that when they played against Leverkusen. And you guys saw the game. I watched it and I was like, they'll give you chances, Bayern, and they did. They did. They weren't great at all. In the first 20 minutes when we were on them, Christian Eriksen has a great chance. I'm not going to say he should score from there, because from a tight angle. Reguilon, who was one of the shining lights of the game, he has been in the 2 games that he's played for us, even though they've been losses. And we've conceded a lot of goals. He's been actually a bright light. He's up and down. Palestri, I tell you what, just kept it simple, kept his width, made sure Alphonso Davies had to be honest, good runs into the box where maybe on a different day he could have scored. So there were some positives. There were, but essentially it's the same script, and it's Manchester United making mistakes. It's Manchester United not being switched on. It's our players being mentally fragile in moments in the game where we need to be calm. And that's a common theme. This game against Burnley, listen, all of a sudden you look at that, massive pressure. Massive pressure. Do you guys look at it and think, oh, it's all right, we'll be all right against Burnley, though? I don't. If Burnley get one early, contentious decision, mistake again, something like that, nerves. It's like if we don't go 1-0 up, we can't perform, and that's the issue. We need to start scoring first. We need to start scoring when we're on top, because we're not gonna be able to turn this kind of momentum, get a momentum shift. We're not gonna be able to turn this around. Look, it's still very early in the season, and look, most people had us losing here at Bayern, including a lot of ourselves. But it's the manner of the way in which things keep happening. That midfield 3 of Eriksen, Bruno, and Casemiro. It's just not it, is it? It's just not it. And individual mistakes keep costing us. I don't know, man. It's the hope that kills you, because like I said, after the 15-20 minutes, I'm like, you know what? We're actually playing okay here. But I still felt, and call me Mr. Negative, Josh will tell you, I still had that feeling of like, I just know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen. And that's exactly what did happen. I didn't think it'd be in that manner with Onana doing that, but you just knew it. And that's what I mean about the game against Burnley. We'll probably look all right, we'll have the ball, but something will happen, and it's how we react to whatever that thing is will determine how we can kick on, because we're just not managing emotionally in games. I'm annoyed because I literally could have written this whole script word for word of what probably would have happened tonight. It happened against Arsenal. It happened against Brighton. And now it's happened here. It happened against Spurs. Didn't get the penalty when we should have. Should have scored from 6 yards out. Bruno with the header. Get into half-time 0-0. Mistake. What happens? Do you know what I mean? And the types of goals we're conceding. Cutbacks. Because people aren't going with their runners. The last 4 or 5 goals we've conceded, all 3 against Brighton were the same. And then the second one here was the same. That's 4 goals in the space of 2 games that were carbon copies. Then they hit the post twice as well. So there were chances galore for Bayern Munich today. There really, really was. So, look, it's disappointing, of course. We have to keep calm. You know what I mean? I don't want to, for me personally, I'm not questioning Ten Hag or anything. I think we will come out of this period. But it's this batch of fixtures here. This batch of fixtures coming up, they need to hit the spot. Because if they don't, we're just going to be in trouble. And we can't keep blaming it on injuries. There's enough quality there to start picking up results in this next batch of games. So there you have it. I'm disappointed. I'm annoyed because I just could feel that this would happen. You've come away here to the Allianz Arena. You've scored 3 goals. But yet you're looking at it going, still rubbish. Not good enough. So, yeah, go again, Burnley. And that's not going to be easy. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if they've only got 1 point this year. That's not going to be easy. Knowing us as well. So, yeah.